All right, everyone, welcome back to Revenue Rascals. And I am so excited to wrap up this series with episode 4 of why most local businesses never scale because they don't understand it and how to fix it. So this is the deal. Most business owners associate growth with what they want. Now, growth is part of scaling, but growth really eats into your profits, which we're going to talk about. And what you really want to do is scale. So this is the deal. And the big idea for this episode is that growing a business and scaling a business are not the same thing. Growth means getting just bigger. Scaling means getting smarter with more profits. And most business owners have never been taught the difference. So today we're going to fix that. Are you ready? I am. Let's jump in. All right. So if you've been following along, you know that this is episode 4 of the 4-part series. If you have not listened to the previous 3 episodes, please start there and just binge me like Netflix because you do not want to miss all of the pieces. This 4-part series has really been talking about building local businesses from scratch. And we've used a senior concierge business that I made up that I hope somebody starts as an example. And we didn't really talk about the legal stuff or the nitty-gritty of operations. We really talked about the strategy behind making money from your businesses. And that's what I love to talk about. I don't know about you, right? Okay, so in episode 1, we designed a business that doesn't depend on us every single day using my framework. And you can use the framework actually to check and balance your current business and make changes, or you can use it when you're validating some of your ideas. It works both ways, and honestly, you're not going to find a better framework out there, okay? Episode 2, we talked about getting those first 10 customers, which is so mission critical to proving what you want to build is viable and also giving you that selling confidence. And then in episode 3, we talked about turning those one-time buyers into recurring revenue. So essentially the concept is go get 10 or 20 customers, and can you turn half of them into recurring revenue, rinse and repeat? Pretty powerful, right? And if you're thinking like, Michelle, I cannot create recurring revenue with my business idea, you are 100% wrong. I have never seen a business that can't create it. It just means you haven't unlocked that yet. And it's super easy to solve for. Once again, revenuerascals.com/the local guild. And it's completely free for you to go and build everything that I've been talking about over this 4-part series. And it's free right now. I don't have immediate plans of changing it to paid, but you never know. It could turn to paid tomorrow. And so I just want you to get in there now when it's completely free. Okay, so today we're going to wrap it up, and we're going to be talking about something that's even more valuable than the recurring revenue. And that is a business that can actually scale. Because here's what I see all of the time is someone grows from $250,000 a year in revenue to $1 million and then $2 million. And everyone congratulates them. And it's like so exciting, so sexy. Like all your friends think you're so cool. Well, unfortunately, I'm the one who's behind all of those businesses, seeing how incredibly stressed out the business owner is. And that's usually when I get hired to fix it. So yes, you should be congratulated. That is a huge feat. But I also don't want you dying inside behind the scenes, okay? Because I know you're exhausted. I know you've hired more people than you should have. I know that, for example, you've bought more assets like trucks than you need. You've leased a bigger office than you need. Sorry, sometimes it's about ego in the office and it doesn't need to be. You've added more software that you're not even using. And I mean, it just keeps going and going and going. And the cool thing is that you are making more money. So you've absolutely validated what your service or your office or your product is. But behind the scenes, you've created a real hot mess of complexity when it comes to growth. And that's why the word growth is like not my favorite word. I use it in my own marketing and communication because I know that's what business owners are thinking. I want to grow. I want to grow. I want to grow. But this episode is really about scale. And that is actually what I want for you and what we're going to talk about throughout this entire episode. Because scale is truly what unlocks the freedom and maximizes what you get to pay yourself. All right, so growth versus scale. This is your Business 101 class right now. All right, so let's start with some definitions because I want to make sure that we're talking about the same thing together. First of all, let's define growth. Growth means increasing revenue by increasing expenses at roughly the same pace. Need more revenue? Cool. Hire another employee. Need more customers? Cool. Spend more money on marketing. Need more production? For example, buy another truck, okay? Like if you're around that type of business. And the deal is growth isn't bad. It's necessary, but it costs a lot of money. And you should be reinvesting into your business. You should be growing it. But I want you to think about scale, not just growth. This is the definition of scale. Scaling means increasing revenue significantly faster than operational costs. You're serving more customers, generating more revenue, creating more profit without increasing your expenses at the same rate. You're doing more with your resources that you already have. That's scaling. Or I'd like to say this: growth is getting bigger, scaling is getting smarter, right? I hope you can connect to that because it's really important. I'm going to give you a super simple example so that it really lands with you. And I'm going to use a landscaping company because I think that that type of business is really easy for everyone to conceptually understand. So growth says we doubled our customers, so we doubled our crews. Scaling says we've optimized our routes, standardized our service, increased our average sale, automated customer communication, and now we're serving twice as many customers with only a small increase in payroll. One got bigger, the other got smarter. Which one do you want, friends? Sure hope you want to scale because that's what I want for you. All right, so why does this really matter? Well, I think some of it's sort of obvious, but we're just going to take a step back and go through all of this. My background is as a fractional chief revenue officer. Now, if you haven't been listening to this podcast or you're not that familiar with me, and this might be one of your first exposures, I want to share with you what a fractional CRO does. A fractional CRO owns all of revenue. That means sales, okay? That means marketing, customer success, the full circle of where the money comes in and keeps growing and scaling. So, who usually has a CRO? Most of the time, it's scaling startups that have tons of money from investors, PE companies, etc., or tech companies that have such high profit margins they can afford to hire me super, super fast to scale quickly. And this is the thing. I've learned so much doing this and I've seen so much success that this episode series was really for the small business owner that wants to do the same thing the big guys are doing, but at a scale that makes sense for you because you're not going to have the same luxuries as investor money or 90% profit like a tech company does. Okay? And it's really, really important that you understand that because I want you to be super successful. So meanwhile, like I said, most local business owners are taught something totally different, which is work harder. You're only good as many hours as you work, hire more people, stay busier, open another location. But bigger doesn't always mean better. Sometimes it simply just means more stress and chaos, which I don't want for anybody. And I believe most local small businesses deserve to think like a scalable company that I've been helping for the last decade. So whether you own a med spa, a landscaping company, a plumbing business, a gym, or the senior concierge business that we're building throughout these episode series, the principles are literally exactly the same. So before I talk about the principles, I really want you to understand the data behind this so that you know I'm not the only one saying this. I'm just helping you do it. Okay. Research consistently shows that businesses with standardized processes, recurring revenue, and strong technology adoption outperform businesses that rely heavily on founder involvement. And another study found small business owners spend nearly 68% of their time working in day-to-day operations instead of growth activities. No wonder so many owners feel stuck, right? They're working in the business instead of building the business. And remember what we learned in episode 3. Increasing customer retention by just 5% can increase profits anywhere from 25% to 85%. And scaling isn't just getting more customers, it's simply building a smarter business. Okay, so let's go back to our senior concierge business. Now, remember, if you're passionate about the senior market, you need to build this, and you need to email me when you start to build it because I want to highlight you on the podcast. Like, this is such an amazing opportunity for someone who's interested in this market. And like I mentioned, it's not my passion, but it is a beautiful passion. I really hope somebody picks this up and goes for it. All right, so let's go back to this business. Imagine we're 1 year in. We have 25 families on monthly memberships, predictable recurring revenue, great Google reviews, referral partners consistently sending us new business, and most owners would immediately think, great, time to hire another concierge. Well, maybe, but before I hire a single person, I'd ask a different question. How can I serve twice as many families with the same team? Because that's the difference between growth and scaling. Growth asks, who else do I need to hire? Scaling asks, what's slowing my current team down? So let's look at 4 examples. Something has been driving me absolutely insane lately. Watching incredible local small business owners get buried trying to compete in an economy that changed literally overnight. Because now you're not just a gym owner, a med spa owner, a coffee shop owner, or a contractor. Now apparently you also need to be a content creator, an AI expert, a marketer, a sales leader, an automation specialist, and somehow still have a life. It's just too much. And honestly, most local business education completely misses the mark. It's either generic business fluff or strategies built for influencers and venture-backed startups that do not apply to Main Street businesses. So I decided to build something different. And guess what, friends? It's called the Local Guild. And it's basically the growth engine I've used helping companies scale to millions, rebuilt specifically for local small businesses. Simple, practical, fast to implement. And guess what? No MBA required. And this stuff just simply works. One of my most recent examples, we helped launch a brand new horse summer camp with 0 audience, no fancy ad agency, no massive production, no ad spend. So what did we do? Well, we spent about $300 on local marketing, not ads, actual local community-based promotion that literally took us less than 2 hours to do. And guess what? It generated over $20,000 in summer camp sales. That's over a 6,500% return. That is exactly why I built this, because local businesses do not need more noise. They need practical growth strategies that actually work in the real world. And inside the Local Guild, that's exactly what we do. We are helping business owners get more customers, increase repeat business, use AI without becoming a tech nerd, build referral systems, fix pricing, improve follow-up, and create predictable revenue. And lastly, stop being the bottleneck in their own business. And to make this insanely actionable, we created something called the 7-Day Sales Jumpstart. It's not a course. It's an activation. The goal is simple. Generate sales in 7 days or less, using the exact strategies that I just had that huge return on. So if you're a local business and you're tired of guessing your way through growth, you can join today for free. And all you have to do is go to revenuerascals.com/the local guild, and you'll find us there. All right. So example number 1, smarter scheduling. Right now, every concierge is driving all over town. One appointment on the north side, the other one 20 minutes away, then across town. That's expensive and it's highly inefficient. So instead, what do? we create service zones. One concierge serves the east side, one serves downtown, one serves the west side, or whatever makes sense for your area, right? Now, every concierge is spending less time driving and more time serving customers without hiring anyone, okay? They can visit more families every single week. Revenue goes up, payroll stays the same, and that would be scaling. Now, a really easy concept around the smarter scheduling is if you currently have somebody come and pick up your dry cleaning and then drop it back off. I do, and it's amazing. So we use Red Hanger, which is a Utah-based company, and they're actually located about 45 minutes away from where I live, but they have routes for pickup, and it's so smart. What they do is they don't go to every house every single time. They send a text message the night before asking if you have any pickups, and you reply yes or no, and then that automatically creates the driver route. So efficient, and that is scaling. All right. Number 2 is better membership design. Let's say every family currently receives of like 1 hour visit every single week or whatever it is on your basic membership. Do they all need exactly the same service? Probably not. So this is where you need to be creating those membership tiers. And I did briefly talk about this in episode 2 of the series. So go back to that if you're struggling with this, because I'm just lightly going to touch on this. So for example, Peace of Mind Light, 2 visits per month. Peace of Mind Plus, weekly visits, family updates, appointment coordination. Peace of Mind Premium, everything in plus in addition to emergency support, technology help, contractor coordination, quarterly family planning meetings. Now, that sounds like something really interesting. Some families are going to choose that premium. Others are going to choose light. And the average revenue per customer increases while labor stays relatively flat. So we're not working harder, we're designing smarter, and that is scaling. Now, example number 3 is technology removes a lot of the admin work, especially with everything with AI. So today, every concierge is spending 30 to 60 minutes after every visit writing notes, sending family updates, scheduling appointments, creating invoices. But instead, now they're going to dictate a 60-second voice note. AI drafts the family update, the CRM schedules the next visit, invoices go out automatically. Reminder texts are also sent automatically. Pretty cool, right? Review requests happen automatically. Each concierge gains another hour every single day. That hour isn't spending doing paperwork, it's spending serving another family. Technology didn't replace the relationship, it protected it, and that is scaling. Now, if you need a tool that can do all of this for you, it's Go High Level, and you can use my link in the show notes to get 30 days for free. And you guys, it is so powerful and it is so inexpensive comparatively to everything else out there in the market that does the same things. And it's what I use in my business and recommend to all my paying clients. All right. So example number 4 is better referral systems. Okay. It has to be a system or referrals are the worst way to grow because you just never know if one's going to come in. So most owners think scaling means spending more on advertising. Now, sometimes that's true, but it's not always. Instead of trying to market to every family individually, we build relationships with estate attorneys, financial advisors, churches, home health agencies. Now, trusted partners consistently introduce us to families already looking for help. Instead of buying attention, we're borrowing trust. So the marketing costs stay relatively flat and revenue continues to grow. Now that's scaling. If you're curious how to apply this specific part to your business right now, revenuerascals.com/the local guild and my free 7-day sales jumpstart. We'll show you exactly how to do this for your business, including my custom AI prompt. So go take advantage of that, friends. Okay, so what is the big lesson? Notice what we didn't do. We didn't double payroll. We didn't buy another office. We didn't add layers of management. We didn't throw more people at the problem. We removed friction. Okay. Growth adds resources. Scaling removes friction. That's the mindset shift I need you to make right now. All right. So here are my 4 pillars of scale. And this is going to be my favorite part of the episode. Now, one thing about the 4 pillars of scale is we're really focused on the sales, systems, operations, and selling culture in these 4 pillars. I deeply understand there are things other than sales and revenue that drive scaling, but this is my specialty. And quite frankly, it's where you should be starting. The rest of the scaling formula truly comes after this. So this is what you do first, friends. Okay. So let's go ahead and jump in. The first pillar is about removing sales friction. Scaling begins by making your business easier to run. And I want you to ask yourself, where are customers waiting? Where is my team wasting time? Where do mistakes keep happening? What questions get asked over and over? Every time you remove friction, your business becomes way easier to grow. I remember when, like back in the day, probably like 6 or 7 years ago at this point, I launched a group coaching program and it was called the Sales Success Lab, and it was amazing. I've had hundreds of business owners go through it since then. And it's not something I offer, anymore. But even back then, I was like, I get asked the same questions in my webinars or my email sales sequence or my sales calls. So instead of answering them all every single time, I just added an FAQ to the bottom of the sales page. And what was really cool is back then, before AI, it was optimized for SEO as well. So I was showing up all the time in the search results, which is amazing, right? I want you to think this way because now it's not just SEO, like that I would apply that to the AEO as well. Okay. All right. So pillar 2. Build a revenue culture. I am so passionate about this because I see it breaking down in small businesses every single day. Okay. This is where I truly believe you are missing the mark. Most owners think I'm the salesperson, or maybe they have one employee who's quote unquote good at sales, right? That doesn't mean scale. Here is what I believe. Sales is not a department. Sales is a business competency. Every employee who interacts with a customer influences revenue. Your receptionist, your technician, your office manager, your customer service rep, your delivery driver, your hygienist, your esthetician. Every interaction either builds trust or not, right? It creates another appointment. It generates a referral. It leads to another purchase. Or unfortunately, if you don't do these things, you are quietly losing revenue every single day. So your customers don't know who's in sales. That's actually a good thing. They only know who they interacted with. That's why every employee should know how to build trust, ask better questions, educate instead of pitch, recommend the next best step, rebook appointments, ask for referrals, and handle these basic objections with confidence. Not because they're becoming salespeople, because they're becoming better at serving customers. And that is truly the shift. And I can remember when I was helping this doggy daycare, they do training, daycare, overnight, all this other stuff. And I've mentioned it a few times on this podcast, but it's just so incredibly relevant. The owner, excellent at selling. Really good actually at a lot of the tech too around getting people to purchase. However, because he's dealing with hourly employees, he was having a really hard time finding people that would do exactly what I just described and also take great care of the animals. So making that pivot is so incredibly easy, and making selling easier by adding tools and resources for your team. So, it absolutely starts at the hiring phase, but it needs to be part of the culture, the training, the resources available. Make it easy, friends. Okay? Please, please, please. So here is the shift. Most local businesses look like this. The owner sells, everyone else fulfills. The owner sells, everyone else fulfills. The owner becomes the bottleneck because scalable businesses look different. Everyone creates revenue in a scalable business. The owner just builds the systems. That's a completely different business, and quite frankly, a way better one, because this is the deal. You have to make selling easy. And here is where most owners accidentally fail their team. They expect employees to help grow revenue without giving them the tools. Enterprise companies call this sales enablement. I call it making selling easy. Way better to digest, right? Every employee should have these things: a simple pricing guide, membership information, referral language, frequently asked questions, upgrade opportunities, follow-up templates, AI prompts for customer communication, playbooks for common customer conversations. Don't have them rely on memory, especially if they're part-time employees. This is the biggest breakdown ever because they're not there every day and they forget things. So you cannot depend on the memory. I need you to build systems so that literally my 14-year-old son could follow it and sell for you. That's how simple it needs to be. And when you make it super easy, more people in your business naturally create revenue. All right, the next thing we got to talk about is you have to hire differently. Most owners hire for technical skills, which clearly is a baseline, okay? If you're a plumber, you have to hire somebody who knows how to do plumbing, right? This is the deal. Like, you got to kind of shift a little bit out of just technical skills. So lots of examples here. Can they cut hair for a hair salon? Can they inject Botox for a med spa? Can they repair air conditionings for an HVAC company? Can they groom dogs for the doggy daycare, right? Those skills absolutely matter, but there's table stakes that are being ignored. You also need to hire for the ability to be curious, for communication skills, coachability, empathy, confidence. Technical skills deliver the service, but the people skills will grow the business. Now, I also understand that if you are paying hourly, it is difficult to find these types of people who know already how to do all of this, right? But listen, it's a one-time investment into creating the training and the systems where you can develop people to have these skills, and you can find it in the interview that they're willing and capable of building these skills. And then you attract really hungry people who also want to improve on their people skills or just personal development. And those are the people you want working for you. And you don't always have to pay them more than the next guy if you're also developing them. And this is where it's fun, where you create a culture around growth, and not just for the business, but for your people. How exciting is that? All right, so pillar number 3 is to automate repetitive work. Listen, I love AI. I love. I love AI that can get rid of all of these time-sucking, horrible things so I can go live my life without AI and turn my phone off, okay? If you're with me, you're with me. You know this, right? But this is really interesting. So I do love AI, but probably for different reasons than most people. And I don't use AI to replace everybody that works for me. I use AI to remove repetitive work to unlock more advanced opportunities for the humans, okay? So what do I want AI to remove? I want AI to do my scheduling, my invoicing, my CRM updates, my reminder texts, review requests, marketing campaigns, meeting summaries. The more repetitive work technology handles, the more human time your team has to build relationships, right? Automation should make your business feel more human, not less. And that is my approach with using technology and AI. And I personally feel, and quite frankly, I know I'm right on this. The people who use AI in the way that I'm sharing right now are going to be the businesses that are still thriving in a decade. The ones who think that AI can just take over everything, I think they're going to be learning a really hard lesson by going out of business. Mark my words, okay? Pillar 4, measure what matters. You can't improve what you don't measure. Really big one. So I need you to know your numbers. New customers, referral rates, customer retention, monthly recurring revenue, customer lifetime value, gross margins, revenue per employee. All of these things are really important and you need to be tracking. But don't just measure the outcomes. I want you to measure behaviors. How many referrals were requested? How many appointments were rebooked? How many memberships were recommended? How many follow-ups happened? Those are the activities that create revenue. I'm going to give you an example of a local business. So I did a Revenue Rascals tour to Jackson, Wyoming, and I experienced all these amazing small businesses so that I could talk about them on the podcast and share recommendations. Super cool, right? I love a roadshow. And there was this rafting company. Oh my God, we had the best time ever doing whitewater rafting. And so, but what I was there for is to understand their sales process, their growth process. It's a highly competitive market up there for all of these river floats and experiences. And so our bus driver said, hey, all of our guides are in a competition to see how many Google reviews they all can get. So make sure to do a Google review. All of the, rafting guides are in competition. And that's super cool. Like, I love that. But guess what? My guide didn't say that. And there was no way to formally credit the guide if I was to make a Google review unless I mentioned his or her name. So there was a disconnect. The bus driver was all on board, but the guide, he didn't even ask for a tip, even though I offered, and then I found it later and I tipped him. He also didn't talk about the Google reviews. So what I'm willing to bet is that he loves his job, but he's super uncomfortable with selling, and that's pretty common, right? So what could have been a cool idea? Well, I don't want to spill all the tea before I drop the episode, but what if his life vest had a QR code that brought you directly to Google reviews that tracked his referrals? Interesting, right? These are the types of things that we really have to be thinking about when we're scaling. All right. So here is your freedom test as a business owner. I want you to imagine you disappeared for 30 days. Okay. No phone, no laptop, no email. Would customers still be served? Would sales still happen? Would invoices still go out? Would referrals still come in? If the answer is no, you haven't built a scalable business yet. But now you know exactly what to build next. All right. So the biggest mindset shift I want you all to have, and remember, most entrepreneurs simply ask, how do I make more money? I think that's the wrong question. The better question is, how do I make more money without my life getting more complicated? Friends, that's scaling. And if you haven't followed this 4-part series, please go back and re-listen to it. And you have a blueprint for building a local business that creates freedom instead of burnout. And it's inside my 7-day sales jumpstart. So you go to revenuerascals.com/the local guild. So what are you going to get in there? Some juicy stuff. To mention a few things, you'll get 100 things you can sell this week based on your business category, 24 ways to find your next customers, proven campaign templates, follow-up systems that increase conversions, AI prompts that will create your offers, including the recurring ones, emails and campaigns in minutes, and my communication framework that I fondly call ABP that will help you handle everything from follow-up to objection handling to dealing with a problem employee. It's a great resource. And this is all free for you. And you just have to go to revenuerascals.com/the local guild. And listen, this is not a course. This is an activation, and you need to go and activate. All right. So over the last 4 episodes, we didn't just build a business idea around the senior concierge, right? We built a real business. We designed it. We found customers. We created recurring revenue. We built the foundation for scale. And here's what I hope you remember. Businesses don't become valuable because they get just bigger. They become valuable when they become repeatable, predictable, profitable, and less dependent on the owner. The goal was never to build a business that needed you more as it grew. The goal is to build one that actually needs you less as you grow, because the best businesses don't just create income, they create freedom. Now, go build one worth owning, friends. Till next time, have fun. Thanks for listening to Revenue Rascals, where we turn bold ideas into predictable revenue and prove that breaking the rules can still build empires. If you love what you heard, do me a favor. Tap the links in the show notes to support our sponsors. They're the ones keeping this show free so I can keep ungating the strategies that help you scale faster, lead smarter, and take more freedom home with you. And hey, if you think you'd make an incredible guest or know someone who's built something worth studying, email me at hello@michelleterpster.com. And until next time, stay sharp, stay bold, and stay just a little bit rascal.